Okay, I probably have to change the sound settings a little bit because some of the music is pretty loud on this. And from their website, The Path is a short horror game inspired by older versions of Little Red Riding Hood, set in modern day. The Path offers atmospheric experience of exploration, discovery, and introspection through a unique form of gameplay designed to immerse you deeply in its dark themes. Every interaction in the game expresses an aspect of narrative. The 6 protagonists each have their own age and personality and allow the player to live through the tale in different ways. Most of the story, however, relies on your active imagination. And I always meant to do a walkthrough or let's play or something of this, but when I first got it, which I think was 2009, it came out, my laptop wasn't all that great and couldn't really record it very well, so I never did. I did write an extensive FAQ on game FAQs, which sort of goes into the themes as well as, you know, the things you can do in the game. And some of the sort of different things about this is there's only one rule in the game, and that's follow the path, and you're supposed to break that rule. So instead of, you know, going directly on the path to Grandma's house, which would take us, doesn't take very long to actually get there. We're going to roam through the forest. I forgot how to run there. And I think the forests actually loop. It's been a while since I played it, and since I edited my FAQ. But you find things, like you can collect these flowers. There's 144 of them. And even though you can collect them, you don't actually get anything if you get all 144. It's just sort of pointless busy work, exploration. And then there's areas like this you can get to. And that's the Girl of the Forest, I think she's called. And I don't think she really does anything if you interact with her either. There's a whole prologue game that just features her also, which I haven't played yet. And that's just called the Path Prologue, and that's free to play, this one. I think it's $10 or so. Which I've bought it more than once, you know, over the years, in the time between 2009 and now. I think it said March 2009, I was just on the website. And these squiggles on the screen also show you which direction you're going, I think. Or maybe which direction Grandma's house is, I'm not sure. Or it might just be a directional, like north and south or something. And then there are areas like this you can find, and you can collect the pumpkin head on the scarecrow. Okay, and that shows your basket, which starts out with bread and wine to bring to Grandma. But yeah, we're ignoring all that and just wandering off into the woods because that's what you're actually supposed to do. Because otherwise, I mean, a lot of it's supposed to be symbolic and metaphorical and so on. And, you know, your game and your life is pretty boring if you just follow the path. And it's also interesting to look up older versions of the Red Riding Hood story that are more dark than the more well-known ones. And I interviewed the creators of this game maybe I don't know, eight or so years ago. And I think that's linked on in the interview section of alchemillahospital.net. Still. And they also worked with Sato from Silent Hill 1 and 2 did he work on. And he designed some of the, or rather all the characters, I think, in the game called, what the hell was that called? Fatale. And that was one of their slightly later games than this one. But this is supposed to be a slow game, and an art game, and a horror game. Even though it's a lot of exploration and such right now. But just in the overall themes. And it's supposed to also get you thinking about, you know, what makes it a game at all, and, you know, what are you expecting from a game. And that, you know, the exploration and some of the things you can collect are actually pointless. So some of it's a lot of just running around and doing nothing, but... And she also talks to herself. But still, it's one of my favorite games of all time, just due to the game design. And the way that it's sort of open-ended. And that's the girl of the forest again. I don't think you can crawl in here or something. She just kind of walks through you. I also enjoy how stylized it is, because, you know, so many games these days rely on photorealism, and they all sort of look the same, and this doesn't really look like, you know, every other game. In that the characters and the spaces all have their own sort of personality. And that forest girl is just sort of harmless, and she frolics in the forest. I thought I could interact with this or something. The guy with the hatchet is in another chapter for another girl. I forget the name. Maybe Carmen. And this is Ruby. So they each have their own individualized wolf also. And the guy at the campsite is not Ruby's wolf. And there are other hints that happen on the screen, like you'll see overlays of wolf footprints, and that means you're getting closer to her particular wolf. Which sometimes it's a literal wolf, and sometimes it's just sort of a bad thing or a bad dude. And in her case, it's sort of a bad dude, but we'll see that in a couple minutes, probably. And I'm just going to play through this chapter today, because some of it sort of drags on. And I have all this homework to do for game development classes. But I also, you know, find it useful for that, to be going through some games I like and thinking about why I like them. And this is one of those. And it's one I haven't played in a long time. Because I thought I'd purchased it on Steam, but maybe I had another account, because I just logged into mine and it wasn't there. So someone, Neurotic Ninette from her channel on Twitch told me to buy Dreamfall chapters. So I bought that, and that's about the only thing on my Steam right now. Because I apparently had another Steam login that I don't use anymore. But yeah, I bought... This was the first one I ever played and bought from them. And then I also bought The Graveyard, which is... It's just a lady that goes into a graveyard, and she just hangs out and sits down on a bench. But if you pay the $4.99 price of the game, you get one extra thing that can happen. Namely, the old lady can die on the bench in the graveyard. So you might think of that as sort of a joke, but on the other hand, it again, you know, is to make you think about games and you know, what's good about them and why you play them and what they can offer to you. I thought I can interact with that too, but I think that might be, I think it's Carmen. Carmen's wolf there. So I was just going to go to this tree again to see if I could interact with it, but I don't think I can. I don't think that's Carmen. Who is that? That's one of her sisters, but there's, what, 6 girls? And they all live in an apartment in the city, and they are tasked with bringing bread and wine to Grandma's house and visiting her. Or whatever, as with the regular story. Except that it's updated with, I guess, modern possibilities. Even though some aren't, but, you know, they could interact with some people here who might not have the best intentions for the girls who are out, you know, wandering alone in the woods. Or it could be animals. Or other things. And I went into that on my FAQ for the game. But again, even when I interviewed the creators of this game, which is Michael Salmon and Aurea Harvey, I may be pronouncing their names wrong, but they're, I forget where they're from, so never mind that. But anyway, they were trying to create an open-ended game with, you know, more symbolic and open-ended possibilities where it doesn't necessarily mean one thing. And the colors got weird, I don't know why. Okay. That's just this area, I guess, of the forest. It looks kind of gray. And then others are more colorful. And I don't really know where I'm going, but the squiggles on the screen can be sort of helpful for that. And if you look, there's wolf paw prints. And those are telling you you're getting closer to whatever her individualized and personal wolf is. Which isn't, again, always a wolf. It might just be a bad thing, or a potential bad thing that could happen. And I'm looking for the playground, is what I'm actually looking for. But I probably won't find that right away. And we will get to Grandma's house eventually. Oop, my phone's falling over. We'll get to Grandma's house, but not until after we meet the wolf, since we've wandered off the path. Okay, this is the playground. It has a 2-headed teddy bear. And there's our wolf there. And as we can see, he's dragging a rolled up carpet, so it kind of suggests a dead body. So we get sort of the idea that this might not be a very good dude. Also, he's apparently an adult hanging around in a playground, so that may also be, I mean, hanging around alone in a playground, so. It may also mean he has bad intentions. So I'm just looking around the playground here. I wanted to see the duck thing. I knew there was a duck around here somewhere. And if you don't go up to him, I think he just wanders around for a while. And I think you have to press enter. I haven't figured out some of the controller buttons. I'm using the controller, but also the keyboard. Okay, so if you press enter, she'll sit down next to him. So I wanted to see, you know, if that will trigger a cutscene or what's going on here. Okay, so I guess I can get up again too. And she'll just kind of fix her hair and wander around. And in some of these areas like this, it seems like she won't run. And when I first learned about this game, it was on, I think it was SilentHillForum.com. People were saying, not that it was like Silent Hill, but that aspects reminded them of Silent Hill, I guess. Which it's not really, I wouldn't say, but I still like the game. And I don't know if there's really anything else around here that you can check out. So maybe we should just come back to the dude. And there's the girl again. And when you come up close to certain things or people, only some of the items, you get these weird close-ups like this. Then she just randomly talks to herself. There's such beauty in decay and rust. Okay, so now that we got the like framer on the screen, that shows us that we're not in control of the character anymore, and this is a cutscene. So now we got this old dude, and he's being a bad influence on her. And at some point it'll fade out for a little bit. And it's left to our imagination the exact events of what happens here, but many have suggested that it's a game about them being raped. Whether, you know, literally or metaphorically, depends on which situation, I suppose. And that's sort of suggested by how she's, how she is seen, you know, when you see her next. Okay, so now fade to black. And she looks rather battered and in a bad condition here. And it's raining, and she walks very slowly once she does finally get back up. I was pressing the wrong buttons. I don't know if you have to wait for her to get up, or if you're supposed to press buttons to cause that. And while whatever the girl's wolf is, well, that's the main thing that causes the end of the chapter. There are also a whole bunch of other things like you can collect, and then there's what are they, memories or I don't know, items or something. And if you get all the ones you're supposed to, it unlocks different rooms in Grandma's house. So now we have this long walk, you know, to Grandma's house, and we go through that gate up there. And this is where we were supposed to go, and if you go there, you know, everything's, you know, still sunny and nice looking outside. But it's also fairly boring because you're just walking down a path, and it's very straight and narrow through the woods. I think I tried to walk around this once, but you can't do anything about it. Also, she walks painfully slowly. Alright, and then we can open the gate. And yeah, I think there's like 3 or 4 rooms for each of the girls, and there are special rooms that you can unlock that tell you more about the story, albeit in a sort of symbolic manner. Does Grandma have a moat around her house, or what's going on here? It's just from the rain. Okay, in this it turns into first-person view, and you can control it, like you can speed it up or not, but you don't, it's sort of guided, you know, like one of those games that aren't on rails, like shooter games, House of the Dead or something. Except you're not actually doing anything other than progressing through the house. Okay, and it appears to be Grandma's living room here. Okay, I thought it was going to start on its own, but I had to press something. And it felt like I was moving around, but really you're limited because you have to go where it tells you to go. And this is just sort of an epilogue to each of the chapters. Like, I've done all the gameplay stuff for Ruby at this point. And if you get all the extra stuff, and I did not because I don't remember where things are, but if you get all the extra stuff, you get these extra scenes and extra rooms that may tell you more about Ruby and what's going on with her. And a lot of this gets into, like, strange, surreal stuff, like, what the hell's going on here, you know? See, that's much bigger than Grandma's house, and those look like school lockers or something. And we got, like, a boiler room or something. And I think it's been suggested that this has to do with, like, school trauma that she may have gone through, giving her a negative outlook on things. But again, it's left to your imagination, a lot of this stuff. And then this shows the part, well, relates to the part about the playground. And we're just shown more, and it's we're shown more that he's a bad dude. Okay, so items collected 0 out of 13, 1 out of 3 special rooms. Wandered aimlessly for 1,640 meters, encountered the wolf, rank C. I would have done better if I found the extra stuff. You found the abandoned playground, yes, but that's where you find the wolf. But again, that's all I'm going to play through today. There's 5 other girls, and I'll play them as I have time to do so. And, there's the other girls. You get to choose one each time you play. But that's it for today, and thanks for tuning in.